Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 1992 film Alien 3, and this is directed by David Fincher and stars Sigourney Weaver, Charles Dance and Brian Glover. When an alien attack happens on the ship Newt, Hicks and Ripley escaped on, they crash land on a prison planet inhabited by 25 violent men, with only Ripley and the Xenomorph surviving the crash. Well, David Fincher himself hates this movie, lots of Alien fans hate this movie, and lots of people in general just basically hate this movie. But I remember watching this for the first time and I actually didn't mind it. I actually quite enjoyed it, so I was looking forward to giving this a rewatch once again. Now, just a heads up guys, there will be spoilers in this video. Now, I usually start with the positives in my reviews, but I'm going to start with one negative here, and the killing off of Hicks and Newt is absolute bullshit. Like, I couldn't understand why Alien fans, especially the hardcore Alien fans, just do not like this movie at all. Basically, don't even include it in the franchise, because there was no need to do that. I mean, two great characters there from Aliens, after going on this long journey of survival with them, are just killed off in the most pathetic way. I mean, it's not even on screen, it's just typed onto a computer that these characters are deceased. And that really is a kick in the nuts for a lot of Alien fans. And to be honest, even though I can see past it, it really is a sour taste that leaves in the mouth whilst watching the rest of the film. So I just wanted to get that out the way first. But if you can look past that, there's actually a decent little Alien movie in here. Now, I really like the location of the prison planet in this movie. Ripley is surrounded by lots of violent men who've done bad things in the past here. And it's a kind of a dull and depressing place to look at. But that just gives off the vibe that this is actually a prison movie. Prisons sort of should look like this, and to have a prison setting in this franchise was a really interesting take, and for me it kind of worked. Now, most of these characters have not seen a woman for years. Some of them are even rapists because they are just basically isolated on this planet, so you do feel like danger is around the corner for Ripley at every turn. She's got to have eyes at the back of her head, and you never know which way the characters are going to go. So there's always that to keep in mind, especially if you're watching this film for the first time. But I like how Ellen Ripley doesn't give a shit. I mean, she will just sit in the middle of them, basically stare any of them out and say, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. I mean, she is a tough-ass character, and I like how the movie uses this to remind us how amazing of a character that has been created by Sigourney Weaver here. Now, having an all-British cast kind of works for me here. It works in a lot of movies for me. Can't really put my finger on why. It just does. Christopher Nolan does it a lot, and it seems to work out for his movies. But there's a great cast on board here with Charles Dance, who owns the screen in virtually every movie he's in, and this is no different. And he's got an interesting little backstory going on that builds up a little bit there that we kind of want to dig our nails into and see what's going on with him. Also, Brian Glover, of course, and Pete Postlethwaite in there. I mean, it's a really solid cast with great performances throughout the board. But this movie seems to go back to basics, like the first Alien movie, just having one xenomorph sort of causing havoc here. And that was a bit of a ballsy move, I thought, because a lot of people probably wanted more aliens, like they did get in Aliens. But I think this movie definitely finds a way of making the xenomorph as dangerous as ever. Having the characters defenseless for the start definitely raises the stakes and makes everyone seem a lot more vulnerable. But also, the gore in this movie works to the xenomorph's advantage and how dangerous of a creature it actually is. We see a lot more violence in this movie compared to the first two films. It's definitely the goriest of the lot. I feel at times it works like a slasher film a little bit there, just with the alien picking them off one by one. But there are little mouths penetrating skulls, but you kind of see a lot of the blood splurting on the screen. People are being ripped apart. There's a guy, because of the xenomorph, sort of pushing him into a massive fan there, and he is just sort of blown to bits by this fan. I mean, the movie doesn't hold up with the blood and violence, that's for sure. And having Ripley impregnated by the facehugger, unbeknownst to her until about halfway through the movie, again, is a little bit of a ballsy move to me. Now, people may just say, oh no, this movie's just trying to kill everyone off. That's bullshit. But as an audience member, you kind of don't know how to think and how it's going to end up for Ripley. On one hand, she can have this company take the alien out of her, but she knows deep down that the company is going to sort of take that creature, investigate it, and do what it's always wanted to do with this species. And she has always been against that. She's been very vocal in both movies. That is not going to happen. On the other hand, is to basically kill herself with the alien inside her and face certain death. I mean, that's a tough ass ending for such a beloved character right there. Now, Alien is the ultimate slow burn movie, and Aliens was a lot more fast paced. But I do think Alien 3 sort of goes back to the roots of the first one, where it's a bit more slower paced than Aliens. However, it's not as slow as the first one. There's always something happening on screen, whether it's character dialogue, dangerous situations popping up, or the xenomorph just attacking. I mean, it builds tension in certain scenes as well. So for me, what I'm trying to say is I was never really bored during this film. Now, I gotta admit, Ripley as a character does feel off a little bit personality-wise in certain situations. She's still great in this movie, Sigourney Weaver, but at certain moments, her character just seems a little bit off compared to what she was in the first two films. For example, she will find some alien acid on the ship that made her crash land into this prison planet. And admittedly, she does get Charles Dance, who's a medic in this movie, to cut open Newt and see if there's an alien in there. And when he doesn't find anything, she kind of just gives up the cause and goes and laughs and jokes with the prisoners. And she has sex with Charles Dance. I mean, she's just kind of having fun, basically. And that is so unlike her. Just because she didn't find it in Newt, you would think her and her personality would search every single part of this compound, investigate everything she can to find this life force, because she would know deep down that it's somewhere. But no, she kind of just gives up on the situation after they can't find it in Newt. I mean, come on, Ripley, you're smarter than that. I mean, two of her friends are dead because of it, which just adds even more to why she would investigate this further. I don't know. Maybe her heart just wasn't fully in this one like the first two movies. It just seems a little bit off at times. But like I said, it's still a very good performance from Sigourney Weaver. It's just not as good as the performances she gives in the first two movies. Now, there is one character in this movie who really got under my skin at times. Now, the whole cast here is good. The characters aren't as good as Aliens, of course, or even the first Alien, but they're fine. However, Dylan, who's this religious fanatic in this movie, who's trying to get everyone into religion in this film and stuff, was just a little bit of a pain in the ass. I'm not really into religious fanatic characters who spout off about blood and stuff in these movies. I'm looking at the woman from The Mist. Yes, you. Can't stand that character. And Dylan was kind of the same here. Nowhere near as bad, but at times I was just like, man, shut the fuck up. Also, I will say the CGI on the alien at times is a little bit of an eyesore. Now, granted, it isn't always CGI used on this alien. There are practical effects as well, which look great, but you can definitely tell when the CGI is used. This is 1992 and is very dated. It's the early days of CGI. It doesn't hold up today, unfortunately, and it takes you out the movie a little bit. And lastly, I just want to say, this is just off my personal opinion, but I do think there was room for Newt and Hicks in this movie. Having them three sticking together, sort of against all the prisoners, and maybe sort of sticking together as a family. I mean, that would have worked, I feel. There could have been a good family dynamic with these three moving forward in future. I just think that would have been a little bit of a good idea, but again, this was not my movie, this was not my script, that's just an idea off the top of my head there. It's just a shame they killed them two characters, man, two great characters. However, guys, I am not one of them people who hates this movie whatsoever. I can look past the first 10 minutes, even though it is bullshit what happens. There are massive problems, for sure, with the script and decisions they make, but this is still a pretty strong alien movie that makes for a pretty good trilogy. It's the weakest of the three, but them two first movies are masterclasses in themselves anyway. I just think this is a solid little entry. I'm just going to go ahead and make this movie now. I'm going to give Alien 3 an 8 out of 10. A movie that had me fully invested from start to finish, or 10 minutes in to finish. Okay guys, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now a fun fact for Alien 3 is that David Fincher said that the amount of studio interference just really took him out the movie, and it basically wasn't his film. He couldn't even do a director's cut because there was that much studio interference. And when the 1992 LA riots happened, close to the studio where the camera negatives were being stored, he kind of hoped that the studio would burn down and destroy all these movies because he hated it that much. So yeah, no one hates this movie more than him, and that's his own words. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. Please don't forget to check out my Alien and Aliens reviews. They'll be in the playlist down below, and I'm probably going to be doing Alien Resurrection next, so look out for that. What do you think of Alien 3? Are you a fan? Do you hate this movie? Please do let me know in the comments down below. If horror is your sort of thing, please like and subscribe to this channel. It would really help me out. Thanks so much guys, you take care, and I'll see you all on the next video.